Well, welcome back, and I thought I would just do a quick video. I don't think I've done one of these videos yet, and it's basically repairing some valve guides and cast iron cylinder heads. A lot of the time in a cast iron cylinder head, like a Crossflow, a Pinto, Ford V8, Chevy V8s and numerous others, the actual valve guide is bored straight into the cast iron, so it doesn't actually have a physical guide fitted. What I'm looking at today is a pair of Chevy cylinder heads, and if I just get them in shot. So this is one of the pair, and basically the inlet valve has got way too much play. I don't know if the video is picking that up, but it's quite a lot. And another quick test is if you put your finger on the back of the guide and quickly lift the valve up, it should pop. And these, they pop, but they don't really pop. If I compare it to the exhaust, which has got no play in it at all, and put my finger on the back of that, oh, I don't hear the pop. So what we can do to repair this is two things. I can bore the cylinder head out and fit a physical valve guide in there, which is fine. I could do that, we've got the machinery to do it, but I haven't got any of the guides in stock to do it. Or we can use something called a thin wall liner, which is a bronze thin wall repair liner. So we bore out the original guide first using a ream, and it's a stepped ream. So the first bit goes into the guide and then the second part bores it out. This bit here is just so we can rest that onto the original seat, and then when we bore it, we're hopefully going to be very close to the right angle, and we're not basically going to send the guide off pitch. Once we've done that, we then use an air hammer installer, and that drives the new guide in. Once we've driven the new guide in, there will be some of the original liner left over. So we snap that bit off, then we have to size it and lock it in. Now to size it, we use ball bearings, and they come in all different sizes. So that one is 345 thousandths ball bearing. So we use a driving tool to then drive the ball bearing through. Now what we want to do is get this size right, really. We can only really drive the ball bearing in twice. Any more than that and we're just making the valve guide material so hard that it's no longer much good. So we'll drive that in, hopefully get it right once. What will happen is, because we're driving the ball bearing through the bronze, it actually pushes the extra bronze through. So then we have to use a trimming tool, which is that, to trim both ends of the valve guide. Hopefully then we've fixed it. So the first operation is to bore out the cylinder head . Right, the first operation is to use this tool to bore out the cylinder head. I will move the camera so you can see every operation. Take your coat off. So the first thing that I want to do is to make sure that I'm pretty tight on the seat with this tool here. And then just drill straight through. And then what I'm going to do is just put all the toolkit away as I'm using it. So now all 4 inlet guides are bored out. We're going to use the air hammer and push in the new inserts, liners. So we're putting this tool in now. The liner has actually got a tiny little chamfer at the bottom just to help get it to start. I don't know where I've put the 4th one. Ah, there it is. That one's failed. So that liner there has just collapsed as we've got very near to the bottom. Oh, that's not good. Just need to find something to drift that out with. What I'll have to do is just put the drill back through this one. I don't quite know why that's collapsed like that. So we need to get the drill back out. And these are always a little bit of bugger to re-drill, but I haven't actually got much choice. So I'll snap the top part of it off first, because where it's squashed, and let go down here. Just break this bit back out, and then it's less for the drill. Right, let's try again. Let's get another line up. and keep an eye on it this time, make sure it's really not liking this one. I need to look at this because I really don't understand why it's done it again just on this one valve guide. Let's try again. Yeah, that's done. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is just snap off the 4 extra bits of liner there. So I just use your pin nose pliers and then just break each side of the split in the liner. It's important to break each side because if you wind this one all the way round, which you could, it then starts to unravel the liner. Okay, so they're all snapped off to roughly the right size. There is a few little sticky out bits, but we'll deal with that later. I'll show you how. So what we've got to do now is size the guide, because if I get an inlet valve, the inlet valve won't go in. So I need my driving tool and I need the right size ball bearing. So what I've done is I've measured the stem of the valve, measured the diameter of the ball bearing, and that gives me my right clearance. So what I'm doing quickly is just putting the ball bearing in there. Then use the driving tool, put my hand underneath to catch the ball bearing. I didn't catch it. Next one. Flicked it out then. This never happens, it's because I'm filming. One more. And take the driving tool out, putting everything away as I go, just to keep the place as neat as I can and don't lose anything. Just put the ball bearing away. Now, I snapped the bits off flush before, and let's see how much is driven out. Don't know if the camera's picking that up, but that's how much material, where the bronze is, that's driven out the liner to get the size right. So what I do now is put in the countersinking tool. So that's the right size pilot there, with a nice cut there. And then just trim off all the tops. So I'll just get the cast iron showing. Like that. And then underneath as well. And quickly what I'll do is just neaten off the top edge. With a taperine. Spin the head over. Same on the inside. Taper ream again. And then once again, try the valve now. There you go, no play now, and it pops really nice. Ooh. There we go, it's done. That's a quick video just showing how we do the bronze thin wall liners. So what I'm going to do now for my customer is just cut the seats, go in the wash, and yeah, get them ready to give back to him. Well, welcome back. Today I'm reboring a Land Rover Series 2. The actual Land Rover that it's out of is quite a famous one. It's for a friend of mine, Martin, who owns this particular Trans-Africa Land Rover, which has got a book written all about it. He's asked me to rebore it. He's refreshing the engine himself, and when stripped it, he gave it a quick hone, and there's some massive ridges at the top of the bore. So he brought it over, asked us to have a quick once over on it, which we did. Measured it up, and it needs to go to 30. So he supplied the pistons we're just measuring it all up at the moment, or I'm just measuring it up at the moment, and then we're going to clean the block face up. We don't want to skim the block face. He wants to try and keep everything as original as possible. We're not going to stick it in the acid because he wants the patina of the block, so we're going to bore it, hone it, give it a light wash off, and then it's ready for him to collect. So I will get a video of this running once it's back together, but if anyone wants to know any more history about this Land Rover, then try and find this book, or I can put a link to this book and it will tell you all about it and the journey that it's had so far with previous owners and Martin. So I've dressed the cutter, or resharpened the cutter. I've centralised the boring bar now into the bore. So I'm just gonna nip the cutter up in the holder, and then I'm going to bring the cutting head down until I'm just off the bore, just to make sure it looks like it's cutting the right amount out of the bore. And then I'm going to bring the auto feed in, but at the same time I'm just going to keep my finger over the stop button just in case anything goes wrong. I can quickly switch it off. So that's cutting all the way round. You can hear the cutter going all the way round. In a minute you'll probably pick up on the wear of the bore, which is coming up to so we're coming up to that now, so you should hear the tone of the machine change. There. I don't know if the camera picked that up, but I heard it. It sounds like it's cutting at a slightly lesser pressure, because it is basically. So we'll let that one go down. We're going to set the measuring equipment up and we'll give it a mic up. The next thing I'm going to do is, on the first bore, is check that I've left enough clearance. Well, check that I've left enough out to hone, and also check that I haven't left too much in, so I've got loads of work to do. What I'm looking for is around 2.5 to 3.5 thou left in the bore for me to get the right crosshatch finish and sort out all my peaks and valleys. Peaks are bad, valleys are good. And I will explain a bit more about that later if you want me to in a different video. Just leave a comment in the comment section below. Yeah, so there's 3 thou in that bore left for me to hone out. So now I know that my tooling is set correctly, I can carry on and bore the other 3 cylinders. The Land Rover is now bored to the size that I want to leave me enough to hone it to the finished size. So I've now put some medium stones in the honer. I haven't really got a lot to take out, so I don't think it justifies putting the coarse stones in. We're going to have the Onin oil running consistently on the stone. I'm going to get it to the correct size on this stone. I'm not going to put a real smooth stone in this because of the size of the rings and everything. It is actually really still going to be quite smooth, it's just not going to be like the cork finish. So next thing to do is get owning it. just saw the block. I just saw the block move a little bit, so I'm just nipping it up. But we've got to make sure we go all the way top to bottom. So I've honed all 4 cylinders. This won't be to the exact size yet because what I want to do is just take roughly the same amount of each bore, then have a measure up to see how the metal's coming out. And then what that will also do is allow me to see if I've got any kind of taper in the bore. I mean, the good thing about having a machine for quite a while is you get used to the characteristics of it and you can start to feel if a bore's got any ovality in it or if it's got any taper in it, and I must admit it feels really good on the hone. So basically we've got 1.5 thou to come out of these two, 1 thou to come out of this one, and 1.5 thou to come out of this one. There's no taper in it, I can feel there's no ovality in it, so we'll just carry on and just remember to take less out of this one. So what I always do as a reminder is if I've got to take more out the top or more out the bottom, I just normally put a mark on the bore. So if I need to take a bit out the top, I just mark it across the top. If I need to take a bit out the bottom, I just run my finger along the bottom, and you can just see it in the dust that all the swarf that's left on the top of the block as we're machining it. So that one there doesn't really need a lot. And then what I'm using is this friction feed. This, I can hold this as I'm honing, and this is how much pressure is applied on the stones for honing. Half a thou out of that. Same on that. Tiny little bit out the top of that. Half a thou on that. So we're getting there now. This one's to size, this one needs a little bit. So these three need a little bit. This one, I'm going to just blip the owner up and down, but with very, very light pressure. And the reason being is the two balls and the rails on the sun and gauge, all they do is just, they don't mark the ball really, but you could just see where the ball's gone in. I don't really like to see that, so we're going to get rid of that. So there's no pressure on that. That's it, that's all done to size now. So I'm gonna give it a quick wash off. I spoke to my customer and friend Martin earlier, and he didn't want it acid bathing, but he did want it washing, so it's ready for him to assemble. So I'm gonna stick it in the hot wash for a couple of hours, and then he's gonna come and collect it in a bit.